Welcome everyone to This is a Revolution, your almost weekly RevPro podcast. I'm George, joined as always by Mr. Dave the Mark. Dave, how are we doing tonight?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. It's hands up. It's my fault, isn't it, that we're not quite at a weekly basis at the moment. So I keep buggering off on holiday.
Well,
I'm away again next week.
There is that, mate. And you know what? It's funny. I wasn't even gonna address it. And I've had I've had a couple of people go to me, how long are you going to keep calling yourselves a weekly podcast? That's a bit tenuous, isn't it? And they were saying it in completely good spirits, I will add as well.
I had a fellow in Sheffield say to me, he was like, I really like your podcast. I hope you're going to bring it back. And I was like, oh, mate, it's not gone away. Like, we've not stopped. I said, you were on holiday. Then I was on holiday.
We haven't been gone that. Yeah.
It's
we
literally
haven't gone that long, have we? But to be fair, I was.
We'll get back to a routine, won't we? So we'll probably have a break next week, and then the week after that, it will be every week.
Yeah. So my plan was, I was originally deciding, I was like, shall I come on and do a Summer Sizzler review by myself? But I'll be honest, I was a bit lax. I didn't watch Summer Sizzler till literally this weekend, so I couldn't even come on and look. I had a few people when I was in the 229 saying, when they were asking where it was, and they all said to me, they're like, I'll come on and do it with you. I'll come on. So, Dave, plenty of people are coming for your crown, my friend. But I battered away all these potential suitors, I've got to say, with my OG. But yeah, we've got a fair bit to catch up on, mate. But beforehand, did you have a good time yesterday at the 229?
I loved it, mate. I loved it. It was absolutely rammed, which I was so pleased for. I'm glad that there were loads of people there that we don't see every month anymore, but like coming out to say goodbye to the venue.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, like lots of people, like I do, we get attached to places, and we like the feeling of good. I always talk about going down when I walk down the steps to the 229, it's like everything's at peace with the weather. Very much looking forward to the Portchester Hall, looking forward to finding a new home. But yeah, it was fitting, and I thought that the show that they delivered was cracking for it as well. I feel like they're on RevPro's on a real hot streak at the moment, because every show that they're delivering, I know when RevPro is hot, because I find it really hard to write the 10 takeaways. When RevPro goes for a little cold spell, I'm looking at like, well, there were 7 matches, so I'll write one takeaway about each match, and then I'll there was a little bit of something I picked up on there I can pick apart for another takeaway, because there has to be 10. And then like literally I jotted down what my 10 takeaways from yesterday would be earlier, and I started at 14, and it's like, well, okay, well, I'll put those two together, because it can't be more than 10, and you're like, a 6-match card, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And look, I think this is a fitting time to just say to you, I mean, we've obviously, so to kind of set the scene for what we're going to do here today, we've got a lot to catch up on, right? Like, so we're not going to hit the normal format that we do. Effectively, I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to pose some scenarios to you. I'm going to give my takes as well. Maybe I might even start by telling you mine, and then let you marinate on that as well. We're just going to play it a bit more by ear and encompass everything that's been going on. But what I want to do, I think it's fitting to do, mate, is the first few minutes we've got, just very quickly, and I know this is going to be hard because you've spent so much time there, but what are some of your biggest highlights from your time at the 229?
Sure. One of my biggest highlights is not, it's very much RevPro related. It's not in ring. It's the 229 was the first venue that I started to go to where I just felt completely like welcomed immediately. Just so many people that I've got to know because of that venue. And like that, so that's like the whole like RevPro Britrest community is a massive takeaway for me. I've always likened it to, you know, your live-in shows, your Monday Night Raws, and your AEW Dynamite.
Agreed.
Stories are told, and then your Summer Sizzlers and your anniversary shows and your uprisings where they get paid off. And for
Yes.
me, my favourite wrestling memories are not the matches; they're the stories. So
Mm-hmm.
like the story of Austin and Vince McMahon in the Attitude Era sticks with me so much more than any actual Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling match. And that's what happens at the 229. Moments like Osprey and Oku's kind of like tete-a-tete earlier this year. No, last year, sorry. Earlier, the start of last year. The Cutthroat Collective debuted, which just like absolutely blew my mind because it was
Mm-hmm.
just so wildly unexpected and fresh. Match wise, like there've been some absolute crackers. Anytime Luke Jacobs and Michael Oku get in the ring together, it's
Mm-hmm.
mad. But their first singles match was in the 229, and that was something. Gabe Kidd and Luke Jacobs, which was one I wasn't there for. I had a family event, and that was the last event I went to where I was like, "Fuck family! I'm not going to these events anymore. I'm going to the wrestling." I'm just going to tell people that I'm unavailable on Sundays. I think it was like my aunt's 70th or something. Just and I've met so many wrestlers at the 229.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the whole everything about it. My first ever conversation with Andy Gordon was in the 229. Like, mate, I literally went up to him at the end of the show. He'd sorted something out for me because I'd had an issue with tickets. So, like lots of people do, I just sent a message and he'd been like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll make sure that you can get in on the day." Blah blah blah. Went up to him at the end of the show and thanked him. Ended up that he thanked me because he recognised me from just being a positive fan on Twitter because that's all I was at that point. And I was like, "Well, I'd love to write like more longer form things about RevPro, but there's no forum to do it."
Mm-hmm.
I said, if ever you want someone to create content for the website, like long form written content, and that's where Dave the Mark started. So like that's all of that story just comes from the 229. It's where I met Craig Armand. It's where I met like so many other people just within RevPro. It's a special place, but I'm sure in a couple of years' time we'll be able to say all the same things about Portchester Hall as well.
Yeah, it's funny as well that both you and I have got a very similar first time ever speak with Andy Quilden's story, because mine also was regarding tickets that never got delivered to me online that should have been delivered to my inbox, and me being the planner I am was panicking, going, "What if this guy who's emailing me, having no idea who Andy Quilden even was?" And he was the guy that came through to make sure I got into the venue at Southampton Guildhall. It's funny how all these years later, the guy who was running the company, driving the van, like literal down to those, is the guy doing all those things. Probably a little bit column A of being there to make sure everything goes smoothly. Probably a bit of B where he just can't let go of it, I imagine. For me at the 229, it's funny because I've only been going a year, right? So my first show I think was June last year, and
was that the Cutthroat Collective one?
No, it was the one following the Cutthroat Collective. Yeah,
the one after,
yeah, it was the one after. So maybe June, July time, roughly, I think. It was one of those venues I always wanted to go to. I was like, right, fine, I'm going to finally go. And I think I've only been to the 229 5 times, maybe.
Oh,
It's only something like that.
always
Yeah,
then.
that's what everyone says. They always say you're a regular, and I'm not.
I
Far from a
didn't like it
regular.
yesterday because you weren't directly behind me.
Well,
You
blame
were a
you.
little bit to the side, and it meant I couldn't
Blame
whisper sweet
Mr.
nothings in
Ewan
your ear.
Mackenzie. Him and his crew were already sat there
Yeah,
by the time I got in.
yeah. You and Chris were in your seat yesterday, which was nice because I can whisper sweet things in their ears as well.
We
But yeah,
notice how you say they were in your seat, which was nice. That's all I'm taking from that, Dave.
yeah, that's it. Mate. My seat got fucking destroyed in the very first match.
It did. Your seat is now RevPro Canon. But no, in terms of like, what do I remember? What are the big things for me actually being in the building for? There's two things I vividly recall. Like, there's a lot of things that I remember watching on TV. Going, oh, that would have been cool to go and watch. The main thing that jumps out for me is Osprey, Amira, Oku, right? Getting that face to face. We are sponsored by Cat Content. Love this.
Like darling.
Look, if I'm talking about the little things that you could only get by being there live, there is like there's the little thing of like standing outside and Osprey walking in with his son and just talking to the little lad and stuff like that, or just standing by a merch table and you know that door in between merch and the door, like I just happen to turn around at the same time, and me and Osprey just make eye contact. He just nods and walks off, and it's like this is so weird, but also like so normal, like that sort of thing.
I think
But
I'll
also,
always remember when Leo Rush and Leon Slater wrestled last year because I've never seen that many people from backstage come out to watch the match.
I love that as well. You can see
if you've
them.
never been to the 229, there's a little staircase. So there's a staircase that the wrestlers come out from, but there's one parallel on the other side.
Yeah.
And it's where Francesca goes and sits after she's done her ring announcing. It's near where the paramedics sit. You'd often see Andy walking up and down there and Craig Armand and the like. But when a match is on, which is going to be a tasty match, you get a couple of wrestlers sitting on the seats, peering around to watch it. And Leon versus Leo, I mean, I reckon there was probably 10 wrestlers sitting there, like Osprey at the front, and then just everybody around him just watching it because they knew it was going to be special.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. The two actual though, the big like so I've got a moment and a match, right? I've been fortunate to see some very good matches, especially last night because look, I think I've said it to a few people now. CPF versus not Young Guns. I'm so used to saying Young Guns. CPF versus Connor and Jay, spectacular. Like
CPF match, I've seen
up there. One of my top three and I posted this on Twitter last night actually. I think my top three matches of the year all contain a mixture of CPF, Young Guns, and Jay and Connor Mills. Like it's literally those three matches combinations against each other. I think are my top three matches in RevPro this year, and that's in a year of some great matches. Like I think we've got like Manders and Leon, Connor and Manders, those kind of matches all fighting out for fourth and fifth. But the match that jumps out to me is Jay Joshua versus RKJ, right?
Yeah.
And that was following the match, and I kind of have them both. And the reason I didn't pick the match before because we were treated my first ever 229. I was treated to Leon versus Isaiah 1. Okay, and you can tell that it went down well because you started to see the rematches happening. Then you started to see Progress booking Zazaya, but you also saw Riot Cab bring Zazaya in for like literally a secret match. That match that was never even announced, so you knew like that was building momentum and everything. So that match was brilliant. But Jay Joshua is a guy who I said this to him, and I think I might have said it to you. He's a guy that if he came in January, we'd have been talking about him as up there as one of the like biggest impacts of the year. And I don't
100%.
think we did because he came in mid-year. And he's done mid-year to mid-year.
The last 12 months he's had was January to December.
And you know what? Maybe this might be controversial. I think Zazaya's had a massive impact in RevPro, but I think Jay's might be felt even more.
Oh, I think so. I don't think it's controversial either because Zazaya's had a huge impact in terms of like the consistency of matches and how over he got so quickly.
Yeah.
But Jay's had a deeper impact, I think, in the sense that he's still there every week and he's always integral to what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's now a case of when we got the Zazaya announcement for Zack Sabre Jr. At the 229 yesterday, it was never a guarantee for me that Zazaya would be on the anniversary show. It's obviously we would want it to happen, and there's nobody in the room that wouldn't want him on the card. It's just would he be available to
make
everything work? But the idea of Jay not being on the card never crossed my mind to the point where in my head I've got him down to wrestle twice over the weekend in what I think the card's going to look like Friday and Saturday. In two massive matches as well. Like he is, and also like Zazia's consistency is incredible, but so is Jay.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because I actually think his match with RKJ, of all his matches, if we were going to rank them, would probably come in at the bottom. And that's simply because it's all the time. It was the same with Archie Cole. The first match is often like you're kind of finding your feet. You're finding how hard do we hit in RevPro? How fast do we go in? What's the lay of the land? And everybody looks more comfortable in their second match.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Jay and JJ in Southampton just being like, "Oh, okay, this guy is real good."
Yeah,
and I think I always get two people in my ear. I get Spike, who's a regular in Southampton. You'll often see me standing with him.
Yeah.
And we had him on the show a few times. And Sharon, who I think everyone will go.
I knew it was going to be Sharon.
Everyone's going to know Sharon. Sharon and Spike are always in my ear, telling me about Welsh wrestlers that I need to be familiar with. So they told me about Leon Cage long before I saw a Leon Cage match. They told me about Jay Joshua. They've told me about like all sorts of people. And I'm always quite adamant on the fact that I don't want to watch any of their matches until they come to RevPro. Because I don't want to watch something cold where I don't know what's going on, don't know the dynamics, I don't know the story. And I know good wrestling is good wrestling. And any good wrestler worth their salt can give you their character in their entrance. But I like that level of investment. So Jay was the one. I've been nagged so much. And I was like, it's inevitable. People come to RevPro. Everybody does. It's not a place. It's kind of like a feeder to the big international companies.
Yeah.
But it's the finishing school of British and European wrestling.
Yeah. Agreed.
So it's like, I'm just waiting for that. And then when he came, it was like, Sharon just smiled at me and was like, "Oh, didn't I?" And I was like, yeah. And Spike did exactly the same when we were in Southampton. He wrestled JJ. It's just like, yep.
Yeah.
You were right.
Just looking at it, it was July last year that he joined. So he's just over his 1 year. For me, the reason that match is probably one of the ones I take away is because of the match that preceded it. So for the ones that I've been like, that was a match of those epic proportions that could have main evented any card, and it went on first. And you have this guy coming in cold to a lot of people in the second match, which can be like a dead spot on the card, and he came out of it, and we were all buzzing for him afterwards. Go, okay, this guy's got so that I always take that moment away. In terms of moments, that I think the one that has to stick with me more than anything else. I mean, look, we had some great ones. One of the ones that I do remember is Michael Oku live streaming and Leon doing that dive out. Fantastic. But the one that I think, just from the pure euphoric response from everyone, was JJ announcing the Ishii match.
Yeah, that was special.
The feeling in the building for that was just, it's what pro wrestling at its best can give you.
We'll talk a lot about things that are more recent, because obviously we've only been, I think RevPro ran the 229 for 4 years. I was a regular there for 2 of the 4 years. But just to touch on the preceding 2 years, like the first 2 years, everything that involved Mad Kurt and Will Ospreay was that's stuff I still go back and watch and revisit. Just
there's some
and
great
you know
stuff.
what? You know something else about the 229 that I really love as well? They were the shows, because not every event used to be live streamed. So you didn't always get a live in Sheffield live stream and a live in Southampton live stream, but you always got a live at the 229. And in this room that I'm sitting in now, me and the kids used to sit on this sofa. They were bloody tiny, because they were like 5 and 7, and when we all sat on it together, we'd have popcorn, we'd have sweets, we'd have like movie night, but for wrestling, and we'd watch live at the 229. And it's where my kids fell in love with their favourite wrestlers. Sophie loves Lucia Lee, not from meeting her and her being one of the first wrestlers she met, because she watched her on live at the 229, live in London. And then when she went to her first show, Lucia was booked for it, and she was like, "Oh, I might get to meet like my favorite wrestler." And
I love
you
that.
know, they discovered Maya Matthews and Kanji, and it was always the girls at that point. The girls,
Yeah.
and Oku, who's just so bloody charismatic, were their favourites. And then I have to say, the 229 is where Phoebe the Mark first made her RevPro debut and got bullied by Gideon Gray and Lucian Phillips, which she still to this day talks about, and is where she fell in love with Sunshine Machine, who she is no longer very happy with.
I was going to say she's going to be... I know your daughter, she is not going to be happy with them. Just really randomly, Lewis Capaldi, I don't know if this will come across, at CMLL.
I love that.
The crossover we didn't know we needed. Unfortunately, I won't be at Fantastica Mania again this year.
You're a gig, aren't you?
I'm
we
a
talked
gig,
about
mate.
this. You were going to come, and then you realised it clashed.
I was well up for coming. I mean, never has a man been more excited to drive to Wolverhampton, spend a whole day there, sitting in a building in a fucking industrial estate. But I was really happy.
My Saturday morning drive to Wolverhampton's better than my fucking Friday evening one that I did a couple of weeks ago, because that was bloody nightmare.
I can imagine, mate.
But
right.
I've learned, go earlier in the day.
There we go. Right, Dave, we've got about 40 minutes, because you know what? We've decided we're going to keep each other honest tonight. We always talk about we're going to do a stream or a show that's going to be this long, and we never fucking do it. So we're going to go out 40 minutes, and I'm just going to throw some statements out there for you and some questions. I'm going to do the same, answer some stuff, and we're just going to kind of incorporate everyone we've spoken to. But I want to start then. So the first thing that you said there was Jay. You mentioned Jay Joshua. You said you can see him in 2 matches, 1 match each night.
Yeah.
What have you currently got lined up then for him? And if it lines up how I think it's going to, what does that mean for you from now until the anniversary? I mean, including the anniversary for the Great British Tag League.
Yeah. So the first night is so basically I've plotted out the Tag League and how I think it's going to go. So far, everything that I thought would happen has happened. I think we're going to end up with Cowboy Way, Grizzled Young Vets, and Young Guns all on 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
So for that to happen, Grizzled Young Vets will beat. For that to happen, what have we got? Grizzled Young Vets have got 1 more match against Cowboy Way in Germany, and Cowboy Way would have to win it. Young Guns would need to beat Cowboy Way, and Cowboy Way would need to beat the Bryans.
Okay.
So I think that's all perfectly plausible. GYV losing is maybe one which kind of raises eyebrows, but if GYV don't lose, there's just going to be a clean sweep, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So with that happened, you've then got 3 teams on 6. You got the champions, the team that beat the champions, and the team that beat the team that beat the champions. So you do what you wanted, the triple threat tag team match on night 1.
Yeah.
With the winners, which I think will be Cowboy Way, because it makes the most sense, because then you do GYV versus Young Guns on night 2. And you do Cowboy Way versus the winners of Block B on night 2 for the Great British Tag League.
Mm-hmm.
So, whilst that's happening on night 1, both Connor Mills and Jay Joshua get their big match, their big singles match.
Mm-hmm.
So Mills has basically put out an open challenge to RevPro in one of the backstage reactions, where he said, I want to prove myself. Give me a big name. Give me someone. So Mills is getting an import.
Mm-hmm.
I am crossing everything and praying to all of the wrestling gods that we get Connor Mills versus Shingo Takagi. It is the match I have wanted for years, and I think Shingo's at a stage of his career now where Mills can beat him, and Shingo's legacy is not affected in the slightest. But what would it do to Conor Mills's career and the way he's perceived in wrestling for him to have a clean, punishing victory over Shingo Takagi? Sort of thing he did to Trent Seven in the 229 last year. And then I'm kind of torn by also, but forever I've had Ishii versus Jay Joshua down because Jay has talked about he's named Ishii so many times as his dream opponent. We know RevPro love Ishii. It's just it writes itself. It's a perfect styles clash. You've got the grizzled old vet versus the young up and comer, two tough bastards. But then Trent said, when my arm is healed, I want a fully fit Trent Seven versus a fully fit Jay Joshua. So do we get that? Then yesterday happened, and that threw a spanner in the works because now I'm convinced for a different match for Trent Seven. So big match for Jay Joshua. I think he's going to get a bit. I think he deserves. I hope he's going to get a big singles match. And honestly, I don't really care who it is, as long as he gets someone where he can wrestle for 15 minutes with them and show his best work. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's Trent, whether that's Ishii, whether it is like anybody from New Japan or AEW or CMLL. So that happens on the first night, and then the second night it could be Cowboy Way versus Mills and Joshua. But there is a part of me. There's a part of me that thinks Sons of Southampton are going to win the tag league.
Okay.
And I didn't think that to begin with. It's all going to come down to their match in Southampton.
Yeah.
I think the popular choice, looking across the wider RevPro crowd, would be Mills and Joshua. But Mills and Joshua, in my predictions, have got big spotlight moments at the anniversary already. And does Andy want to spread the love across the locker room and give JJ and Francisco a big moment?
Yeah,
but then you've also got the longer term story, because I just can't trust David Francisco. So at some point, I feel like this will implode. Does it happen at the anniversary? Does it happen in Southampton? Does it happen post tag league? So I wouldn't be surprised at all for any of those things to happen. I think a lot of the big names will do double duty over the weekend, because if like I've booked grizzled young vets there to do both nights. But if you've got them, if they're not doing anything Forbidden Door weekend, you've got them in the country, you've paid for them to fly from America to the UK, why wouldn't you get your money's worth out of them and book them both nights, is my logic. Trent Seven versus Sunshine Machine very much feels like something that's going to happen now, right?
Right. So you know what? Let's
needs a tag team partner.
Let's hold on that a moment, because I want to cover some of the bits that you've just mentioned there about tag league. So yeah, I'm in similar mindset to you on a couple of things there. So I hadn't seen the backstage reactions where Mills had put the challenge out. So I could see a couple of things. First of all, my view was that we get Joshua and Mills winning winning the tag league, going on to face Young Guns night 2. That was a fucking incredible match earlier this year, and I think we said at the time, wouldn't mind seeing that when those belts do go, they go back onto Mills and Joshua.
Yeah, 100%.
That would be great. And then you have Young Guns get that win over GYV night 1. Perfect. You can still keep the story ticking for Sons of Southampton. I mean, I would have loved if they just can't, and I know they can't. I was like, can we not just find a way where Mills and Joshua and Cowboy Way both win the tag league, like share it. But there is no way for that to happen. There is no joint winners. We know that wouldn't be possible, or we don't think it'd be possible at least, because I've talked myself into the triple threat tag match, which I'm not normally big on, but I think could be incredible with those mix of guys all in the ring at the same time. But like you've said there, with Mills mentioning that on a backstage reaction, it does sound like there could be singles matches as well. So I would be well up for both of these lads getting a big featured match. Ishii and Takagi are the ones.
Joshua versus Trent Seven. Anybody who hasn't been live in Coventry from 2 weeks ago, like, finish watching our podcast or listening to it first, please, and then go on RevPro on demand and watch that match, because, like, genuinely, like, it's ranked at the moment as my 4th highest ranked match of the year, which puts it one place above Michael Oku versus Leon Slater from High Stakes. You know, that's the level we're talking about. And if we get a second round of that, like, a greater audience will get to see it. But if we don't get a greater audience for it, it was live in Sheffield, sorry, not live in.
Yeah, you're right.
The Sheffield Network crowd got an absolute bloody treat.
Yeah, so I'm much like you. I'd love to see them big singles matches, be that the people you mentioned there, Shingo and Ishii. They were just names I just didn't even consider. Could we get someone in from AEW?
I know RevPro like to use talent from other companies regularly, so that you identify those people as being part of the RevPro kind of wider universe as well. Right? Like, and not universes in WWE universe, but universes in sort of like more like a Marvel universe. Like
Leo Rush is the perfect example.
Precisely. Leo Rush is RevPro canon. Jack Cartwheel is not.
Yeah.
He had one RevPro match. Maybe he'll have more. But until he's had 5, 6, 7, 8 matches, and until he's been involved in multiple stories, he's not.
Yeah.
Leo Rush is, Shingo is, Ishii is. And so they're for me, normally it's those guys, it's Zach. Obviously, it used to be Osprey. It's the likes of Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yeah. So this is where, you put this thought to me yesterday, and you mentioned about Sunshine Machine. So do you want to say, actually, Sunshine Machine as a duo, this Sunshine Machine, really intriguing me.
Yeah, I thought they would.
And I think it's because Sunshine Machine as a babyface tag team, it just felt, and I'm not saying the guys when I'm saying this, because I know that both of them are very good at what they do, but it just felt very one note the entire, and I'm talking from a story perspective. It was always the Sunshine Machine are having a crisis of confidence. Yay, we win the title. Right. Wasn't very interesting to me. What we're doing now is interesting. I never knew Chuck Mambo could be such a dick. Like, he was such a dick yesterday.
Yet he's managing to be a dick, and me still not find it in me to hate him. Yeah. Like, and that's on purpose, right?
Yeah,
the way he came out yesterday, he grew into the dickhead within him in that match. Because when he first came out, he still looked a bit like...
bit tentative, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And then the cockiness came out as the match went on. And then when TK came out, he proper doubles down into being a dickhead.
Yeah.
I loved... if you didn't see the Mills reaction, you won't have seen Trent's reaction. And Trent said, TK doesn't surprise him. He said, I always knew there was a prick in him somewhere. Yeah. He said, Mambo really surprised him and disappointed him. He said, but then if you hang out with CUNTs often enough, you become one yourself. And it was just, it's one of those promos where you hear it and you're just like, yep, there's a reason why Trent Seven, out of all the British wrestlers, has been on like television the most. Not because he says CUNT, but because he just knows how to deliver everything he does.
Yeah.
I'm having a Trent 7 like summer romance this year, hence the Trent 7 t-shirt, because he's just, I love having him back. I genuinely, I think he is like the bar that everyone else is trying to reach in
Yeah.
terms of his in-ring professional wrestling. I don't think anybody can do it as well as he does it.
I get that. Yeah. Yeah. Like he's something special. He's very good at what he does. He has a very good way of getting you involved and making you feel, as does TK Cooper and as does Chuck Mambo. So they're really going for the emotion
There's
in
a
this.
reason
Now,
why my little girl literally cries every time she watches one of their promos or anything that's happening right now. And she's not doing it in front of a camera to be silly for a bit of banter. She actually has a little cry, and we have to talk about wrestling and, you know, what it really is again.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like I don't know why, I just never considered that there was, like, I don't know why, it just never entered in my head of, well, they're going to build to a tag team match, because I think I never expected Mambo to go the way he's gone, right?
No,
Because
it really shook me.
we're talking about the way, like, and I think I made the joke. I'm sure I made the joke of, what if Mambo turns on Trent and joins TK? And I think I said that in a way that was just well, here's something that could happen. But as we found with pretty much every one of my Summer Sizzler predictions, what I said was the easiest show of the year to predict. I predicted the majority incorrectly. So well done, RevPro. But I didn't actually expect it to happen. So where I thought we were getting a very certain route, so I'd never considered any alternatives. We were talking about this because it feels like we're going a very particular route, and you put another name out there, Speedball Mike Bailey.
Because everything is, Trent needs a partner.
Yeah.
No one's come out to save him. That's 2 weeks in a row he's had his arse kicked and no one's come out to save him. Obviously, his partner would be Tyler Bate and it would be Mustache Mountain. But that's not going to happen, is it? Because there is no relationship between RevPro and WWE. Like, it's not even like Progress and GCW where there is some kind of working relationship. There is no relationship between RevPro and WWE. And Andy Quilden's talked about it extensively in the past. And if you want to find out more about it, listen to the A Squared podcast or any interviews he's done in the past where he talks about when RevPro was approached by WWE, like a lot of the independents were, to have a working relationship, and the deals being offered were just not in RevPro's interest. So that's not going to happen. So I was then thinking about, well, who in RevPro could it be? And then I just remembered in TNA we had Speedball Mountain, which was Speedball Mike Bailey and Trent Seven. Speedball's got this. He is part of the wider RevPro universe. He's done multiple shows with RevPro before, been part of, he's a tag league, sorry, not tag league, British J Cup winner. These are big moments to give somebody a title like that, because they literally refer to the winners every single year. And I'm not watching AEW currently, so I don't know how prominent Speedball and Kevin Knight are being booked, as to whether they would get one of the very limited spots on the Forbidden Door card. But it seems unlikely, because only, half the matches, all of the matches, one half of the people are going to be from another company. So you're going to get half the number of people that you normally get on an AEW pay-per-view. So therefore, is it likely that Speedball's going to be available? Yeah, I think it probably is.
It's funny because when I thought of this and someone said Tyler Bate, so I hadn't even considered Speedball, right? And look, I would fucking adore it if we got Speedball, because I think I've said to you that Speedball is one of the few guys that I want to see that I've just never had the chance to see. And it makes sense. I'm not sure. I think it would go down very well, but I think it would take a lot of people by surprise. And the
Mm.
reason I think it would take a lot of people by surprise is because I was having conversations with people yesterday. Random dude I was sitting next to yesterday. He said to me, "We know who it should be based on everything
Yeah.
they've teased so far, but it's not gonna be, right? Maybe RevPro have shocked the world, and maybe there is a deal to be done under this regime of WWE. I don't think it's likely, but I didn't think it was likely that Pete Dunne would be working GCW and doing Bloodsport in the US. We've seen AJ Styles go out to Noah. Now, I know these companies are linked in with the wider companies that link together, and they're linked with WWE. So
There's like two kind of conglomerates, right? You've got Progress, WXW, GCW, Noah, and WWE and AAA, and then you've got AEW, New Japan, CMLL, and RevPro,
mhm,
and obviously TNA's in the WWE one. So
yeah,
yeah, I wonder just how many. I suppose it would be an indication of how big TNA audience is as to how many people would be like aware and excited for Speedball Mountain.
mhm,
But I saw Speedball live for the first time, not really knowing very much about him. I'd seen
mhm,
his TNA stuff, but he was never really pushed that much in TNA. He'd just go in and have like a little banger match, and that was it.
yeah,
So when I saw him on the 10th anniversary, when he wrestled Osprey on night one and Leon Slater on night two, um, I remember just being like wowed by him because it was like, oh my god, you're so much more impressive live and in person than on TV, and that's also my just lack of engagement with TV wrestling. Um, so
yeah,
I think him and Trent, literally Trent doing one backstage reaction promo that tells you it's going to be Speedball, like basically does everything but tell you it's going to be Speedball, and
yeah.
then their entrance together, they're both so charismatic that I think it would just work.
Yeah, I do as well. I think it would be. I think it could be very, very good, and it would be a big moment. And it's a way of, like you said, getting an import who is also a RevPro canon wider regular
Yeah,
without it having to be. And look, I'm not suggesting he's not, but you've got like your big like out of this world names, and then you've got the imports that are a big name for RevPro and still a big name, but not like the big wow factor names like people might be getting used to, like your MJFs at one point, you Shingos, like people like that. But it's still a big getting a big name and one to put in such an important match. I would be happy with it. I'd be more than happy with it. Um,
are
whatever
you happy with
version,
OKU and Leon Slater?
mate, I feel half vindicated with that match. I've been saying for a long time, well, say actually since Doncaster, so April, so actually not that long a time, but
Fucking feels like a long
yeah,
time.
yeah, but it does. But I've been saying since then, Leon is the guy that's going to take the title. Leon is going to win the
Yeah,
Rumble. Leon is going to, and I said Leon is going to face Oku at the anniversary show.
yeah,
So when that came out, I was like, okay, look, we've seen the wider reports and of visas and stuff like that, and I feel like we've kind of been here before, where Michael Oku started dropping belts all at the same time, going, "Huh, what does this mean?" Um, I kind of had the tinge yesterday. I remember Southampton last year when he and Amira just stood looking, and they looked like they were looking intently, almost getting that final look. Yesterday, when he came out, he mouthed to people. He was like, "Thank you so much for this," and stuff like. It was almost a bit John Cena esque. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, but it
it was a
also,
229 for the final
yeah,
time, so
but it also felt like a guy, yeah, who could have been just
fucking
like,
works, doesn't he? He's an absolute worker.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
He's
So
hard to read because
I
he puts so much out there that
yeah, I think he
marks
puts
like us pick up on, but
exactly. He knows what he's doing, right? But I was waiting for a stipulation. Again, I keep calling this stipulation. One day we're gonna get a loser leaves RevPro match. We didn't get that, but we got the match announced. So I'm gonna counter question this to you. Which night do you see this on, and where do you see this placed on that card?
Friday in the main event or the RKJ Michael Oku Summer Sizzler spot, which was effectively the RevPro regulars main event because Mercedes is going to go on last. I'm very, very curious because I've said from the start that I think any show Mercedes is on, she main events. I now think that they are telling us that Mercedes is going to be on this show. I feel like they've hinted at it more than they would if they wanted to downplay the idea of Mercedes being on the show.
Because I know you and I have been very much, I like just even when we're chatting, we've been very far apart in where we felt Mercedes.
Yeah, very much so.
You very much felt like from a business perspective, well, why would AEW do this?
Yeah.
Whereas I've been very much like from a RevPro business perspective, I think personally they're committing goodwill suicide if you don't have her.
Money. Like, compare the crowd for Epic Encounter in the hangar to the crowd for Summer Sizzler.
Yeah.
Like, literally twice as many people.
And I just mean from an expectation.
people.
I think from an expectation perspective, not even how much money they could make, with tickets going on sale, Mercedes holding your women's title. I think it's a goodwill suicide as well by just going, nah, she's not here. I think you take pelters for it.
So now I'm thinking on the Friday we're gonna get a big tag match that Mercedes can be in that protects her.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Sapphire, Mercedes Blaze, Nina Samuels, and Lizzie Evo versus Pretty Psycho, Kanji, and Mercedes.
Interesting.
But I also have another version of that in my head that involves Danny Luna and a new member of the Cutthroat Collective.
Okay, so I'm going to put out there to you. So before you tell me who I'm just going to ask you, do you have a member who you think is going to be the new member? But don't tell me who, but do you have one? Okay, so I'm going to tell you my pitch, and then you can tell me that. So my pitch, actually, and this is where I felt we were going last night, and I wonder if this now happens in Southampton.
I think we're thinking the same thing, my friend.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we are, because I think actually we might be thinking very different things. I felt like yesterday, and we didn't get it, but I think we're going to get things on the reactions that lead to this. I think in Southampton, hyperactive is going to become a thing. And I think we get hyperactive, Mercedes, and Kanji versus Nina Samuels, Lizzie Evo, Mercedes Blaze, and Alex Windsor. I think, and look, I keep willing. I'm not willing this into existence, but I think with this we potentially get if the Cutthroat Collective lose, they're disbanded.
Oh, that's interesting. It hadn't occurred to me that there's no reason why Alex Windsor can't work this show, right? Because
unless she's doing the Eve show, and it's
Eve, but people say things in the heat of the moment, right?
Yeah,
they say things when they're feeling emotional, and wrestling's wrestling. There has never been anything in RevPro to say why Alex Windsor's not there. She continues to support the Cutthroat Collective online. There's no reason why she can't be at the anniversary show wrestling for the Cutthroat Collective, because again, it's a match which means if she's on the Forbidden Door card, isn't going to be an issue for her, especially if it's Friday and she's wrestling on the Sunday.
Yeah.
But if Alex Windsor isn't there, I feel like we have someone in RevPro the last 2 weeks who just fits in the Cutthroat Collective brilliantly in Alexis Falcon.
Interesting.
She just looks like she fits in brilliantly.
Do you know, I did think that yesterday. She's got that kind of energy.
Gobshite, right? She's an absolute gobshite, which is what everybody in the Cutthroat Collective is.
Yeah.
I don't know. She might just be here for a couple of shows. Like Emerson Jane came in for a few shows. Like she might just be, and often we see it. Andy books somebody for a show. They come in, they do a good job, so he books them for the next show. But both weeks I've watched her and thought, you'd be brilliant in the Cutthroat Collective. And something has to change with the CTC simply because 4 people does not work. And this is so pedantic, but you saw it at Summer Sizzler. Out comes Mercedes Blaze, out comes Lizzie Evo, out comes Nina Samuels, Sapphire Reed walks down the middle. It's not balanced. You've got 2 on one side and 1 on the other. It doesn't look right. It has to be 3 or 5.
Also,
so either a 5th person or bye-bye Sapphire, and it goes down to 3.
Yeah.
I know that's really, really silly because you're like, Dave, you're thinking way too much into it when you're just thinking about the symmetry. But you think about all great stables in wrestling, when they came out together, it's always 3 or 5.
Yeah, absolutely. The odd numbers create that because there is always going to be a focal point, right?
And it's always going to be a numbers advantage, right?
Yeah, there's going to be an implied focal point because even though Alex wasn't the leader, Alex was seen as the leader. Or if it was a Lizzie match, the rest would hang behind and let her. But the other one is Sapphire's in the ring, the Cutthroat Collective come out, 1 on one side, 1 on the other. Oh, look, there's the spot that Kanji can run out the ring. Right? Like, it does, again, you're right. And the thing about the CTC that they've always represented to me is that they have that pack mentality. You don't have a pack mentality with 3 or 4. You have it with 5 and above. So,
and I feel like something's got to happen with Alexis Falcon because they haven't, like, Sky Smithson came in and wrestled a show in Sheffield, didn't she? Like, she came in to wrestle Kanji. She lost to Kanji, and that was it. There was no afters. Whereas Alexis attacked Amira, attacked Zoe. Zoe's come and attacked Alexis this week. Alexis has said she did it to Amira on purpose. Like, there has to be a payoff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a payoff in Southampton, but it feels like when you're building to the biggest weekend of the year, you don't really pay anything off on the go-home show. You pay it off on the biggest show of the year, and anything else that you want to do, you just save for the first the first Portchester Hall after the anniversary show.
I had that down. That's where I thought that was going. I thought that was going for the Portchester, but like you said, what you said that makes perfect sense. And you've got 2 tag team one opponent of Mercedes, who's now de facto RevPro Mercedes tag partner. Which is cool. In Kanji, you've got the girls from Pretty Psycho as well. Like, it makes sense. It does make sense. It's interesting how that comes out.
If it's neither Alexis Falcon or Alex Windsor, maybe Anita Vaughan gets offered the T-shirt in Southampton again, and this time she takes it and then turns on the Cutthroat Collective at the anniversary show.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Because there's lots of different ways we could have this big match, and there's a lot of people that this gets on the card.
I did pitch a while ago, actually, that Anita Vaughan joins Cutthroat Collective, but I did that as a heel, not as a babyface. So it's going to be interesting. Do you see this match main eventing?
Well, if it didn't have Mercedes Moné in it, no, because I don't think a 5-on-5 clusterfuck is the way to end in the anniversary show. I'd have Michael and Leon and let them just go out and do 25 minutes of their best work.
Yeah.
But I do think that Mercedes Moné's star power is such that it's like when Osprey Osprey and
Shingo.
Kid headlined over Michael Oku defending the championship against Zach Gibson.
Yeah.
Uprising 23.
Yeah.
So it's him and Shingo over Oku and Trent. Like, I don't really care, mate. If I'm honest, I don't care because like the Sheffield show the other day is the perfect example. Match quality wise, the weakest match on the card was by far CPF versus Naito and Bushi. But it was in the main event slot because it was Naito and Bushi. And the crowd fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit like, for me, it was like everything I've watched to this point has been the wrestling, like the pro wrestling at its best. And now we're going to get this nice, like, sentimental moment. But we're not talking about, like, this 5-on-5. You think what happened the last time the Cutthroat Collective did a 5-on-5 at the anniversary show? It was a match of the year contender. So there's no reason why this couldn't be, other than the fact that I would imagine there'd have to be some politics involved to make sure that Mercedes is kept to like hot tags.
Yeah.
And it would actually be a tag team match, not a all over the place brawl.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to a RevPro show where a tag team match has headlined a big show. Obviously, Naito and Bushi the other day, but not a big show. I don't think so.
I don't think so. One to look into.
Mercedes is Mercedes, mate. So
Yeah, that's it. One that actually I think you just touched on there that I just thought of in the moment. And look, I realise, Dave, I'm breaking our rule, so we might end up going for another 20 minutes or so, mate. But
I don't know, it's been, mate. School holidays.
Yeah. But we're talking there about like Naito, right? And it just got me thinking. We're in Hiroshi Tanahashi's last year, right? His final year, because he's retiring in January. And I remember in Doncaster, he made the point of, this will not be my last UK, and he made it sound as if it was last UK appearance for RevPro. Do you think we've got
and
Tanahashi?
He said that Forbidden Door will be his final UK appearance. RevPro's anniversary show is before Forbidden Door.
And it kind of feels like we've got to get a Tana.
And I don't know if you've watched any G1, mate.
I haven't.
But Tanahashi is currently wrestling every day or every other day. And obviously, basically the way the G1 works, for anyone who's unfamiliar, like if you think of like a 3-day stretch, they'll have a day off for travel.
Yeah.
And then on one day, everybody works a big multi-man, like 6-8 man tag, where they get some reps in, but they're not worn out. And then the next day they have a banger.
Yeah.
So Tanahashi is currently every 3 days giving us a banger. He's headlining most of those shows, and he is fucking putting people over.
Yeah.
Like he's winning enough so that when he loses, it feels special. But when he loses, he's losing like 25-minute matches with the big young guys like your Yuya Uemuras and Ryohei Oya. He could do 2 shows in 3 days in the UK.
Yeah.
For me, that's one where I don't think it will happen though, simply because at the moment AEW have got Tanahashi for his last UK show, and the cynical side of me says that if that were me, I wouldn't let him work somewhere else, where it kind of just takes a little bit of the specialness of my show away.
Yeah.
Like, there's still a lot of tickets to sell for the O2 Arena. For Forbidden Door. So, and this is another thing, right? I don't know how much AEW and WWE politics comes into it, but AEW and WWE are both in the UK.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
They're working the same nights. I'm going to go to Monday Night Raw. So every day I'm checking the WWE tickets, how many are available left, what the price is like. I'm basically trying to play dynamic pricing to the best of my ability and get the cheapest possible ticket. There's still plenty of tickets left for the Birmingham Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
But it's going to look full.
Yeah.
It's going to look full from a TV point of view. And the prices are still like the lowest ticket to sit in the bleachers is 140 quid.
Fucking hell.
Whereas for Forbidden Door, there's a lot of tickets still on sale and they start at 30 quid. So if it were me and I was Tony Khan, I'd want to make Forbidden Door as unique and special as possible to get as many UK fans there as possible. So I probably wouldn't want Tanahashi working both.
Yeah.
But then that is also assuming that Tony Khan has the final word on it, because it's not just an AEW show, is it? It's a New Japan and AEW show.
That's it, yeah.
And Tanahashi isn't just anyone, he's the president. So
yes.
he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I would love to see him one last time, but I have been blessed. I've seen Tanahashi a fair few times now.
Yeah.
I can rest easy saying I've seen Tanahashi. But for people that haven't, I can imagine it being quite special.
I would love to see him wrestle one last time. I've seen him twice.
Who would you book him against?
I was just thinking the same thing there, and I was going
to want him to win. I'd want Tanahashi to come over and win. Who would be a good person for Tanahashi to beat that doesn't lose anything from losing, but gets something from being in the ring with a legend like him, and their strengths can work well with Tanahashi's weaknesses with his age and his knee.
Here's the thing: is if we're doing it, are we doing it as a singles match or are we doing it as a tag match? I feel like if we're doing it as a tag match, I'll be up front. The people that I would book in that match as a tag match would be True and Lacey.
Do you know what I was just thinking? Caven, True and Lacey, CPF and Tanahashi. Like, for CPF to just turn around and be like, do you know what? We're going to use one of these trophies because we want to work with an absolute legend.
I think
we really enjoyed Naito and Bushi. Can we have Tanahashi, please?
The problem you've got there is you're leaving Maverick Mayhew out.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense as cool as it would be. And I think there's a match to come there as well.
Yeah.
Who
I wonder,
else?
like, the obvious one would be Mills, right? Because
Mills
can exploit Tanahashi's weaknesses by fucking up his knees, or at least looking like he's fucking up his knees. And Mills has asked for a big match. You don't get much bigger than Tanahashi. But I don't see Mills winning that match. And I really want Mills' big match that he wins.
The other option...
Although, in saying that, Luke Jacobs didn't beat Ishii at the anniversary show, yet everyone was talking about Luke Jacobs.
No, he didn't, and that was...
to go over. But I feel like Mills had that with Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Mills' career in RevPro changed the night he wrestled Zack.
Yes.
From that moment 100%. On, everywhere we go, the fans fucking love Mills.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of the most over people there, and people are passionate about him. It weren't always like that.
No,
it wasn't. I don't think prior to that Zack match and the Trent match that kind of set it up, it wasn't like that, because you think like he was doing the stuff with Gio and he was cruiserweight champion, and he was kind of like he escaped the 11th anniversary scramble with the cruiserweight championship. So
he did,
yeah.
The only other option that immediately jumps out to me at being at a level where I think they benefit from it, and it feels like a big match, is Robbie X. That's an option for me, but I feel like Robbie is beating Nino.
He's leaving with the championship.
I do. I think they're getting.
Do you know what? I don't think it does Nino any harm whatsoever.
No, neither do I.
Winning the J Cup and then winning the championship and then defending it successfully against Caven but losing it to Robbie X. Bearing in mind where Nino Bryant is in his career, where he is in RevPro canon, like, don't forget the J Cup was the first time he'd ever won. Prior, I mean, like, he won the qualifier for the J Cup, then he won the J Cup, then he won the championship. They were his wins. I don't think him losing to Robbie X does him any harm whatsoever. But Robbie X Cruiserweight champion elevates that championship.
Yeah.
Because since Robbie lost it, I'm forgetting my lineage of it now. I don't feel like the Cruiserweight Championship has been as big a deal in RevPro since he last had it. Him, OKU, and Jacobs had it one after the other.
Agreed.
Yeah, he won it. He won it off Jacobs. It was OKU, then Jacobs, then Rob. That was when the Cruiserweight Championship felt the biggest deal. And since then, it's been a really, really good, like, mid-card title. And everyone that you know, we've talked at length in the past about all the different runs. But Robbie Cruiserweight Champion can headline RevPro shows. I'm not sure if Nino Cruiserweight Champion can yet.
No, I don't think so either.
And that's just simply where the two fellas are in their career. Like, him, Robbie's been doing like almost as like not far off as long as like Nino's been out of school.
Yeah, exactly. Just a thought. I've been debating the women's match, the Mercedes match, and part of me that goes, who else has had beef with Cutthroat Collective throughout the year? Millie McKenzie and Charlie Evans, a little bit.
Yeah.
Could we get that? Look,
we know how Andy works, right? Andy leaves breadcrumbs peppered throughout with the view that he doesn't know when he'll be able to book things, but eventually he will be able to book them, and then he can put his video package together that shows how it all linked together.
Exactly.
The very first time Millie McKenzie wrestled in this more recent run of RevPro, he was very much on commentary putting over Charlie Evans.
Yeah.
So it was always on the agenda. And that's also a really good point, right? We're not going to have just one women's match, are we?
No. And you know what? That might lead into my next question to see what you think. So I've got two questions. One, this one's intended to be a bit more quick fire, and then I've got one final one to finish up on. We know that RevPro likes working with partners, and we know that we've seen multiple different partners sharing talent with RevPro, CMLL, New Japan, AEW, with AEW being in town and seemingly talent being able to work other places. We see that Eve has Sky Blue and Julia Hart. So clearly they are open to talent working in different places. Do you see any additional AEW talent working RevPro those nights? And if so, who?
Additional to Mercedes?
Additional to Mercedes, yep. So let's say we're correct that Mercedes is there and Alex Wins is there. Do you see any additional?
Yeah, I do. And I think it would be likely to be something which is either a mystery person. You know, like we're gonna have some kind of scramble match, or
I was just gonna ask you, do you think we're having the scramble match again this year?
I don't think we're getting a cruiserweight scramble because I think we've got Robbie and Nino 1-on-1.
Yeah.
But multi-man matches work perfectly for these sorts of events because you want to reward all the talent and get them all on the card. You know, like, would Cameron Kai have been on the card last year had there not been a scramble? Would Callum Newman have been able to be on it the year before? Like, it's a good way of getting extra girls and guys in. And in which case, I could feel like somebody there. My thoughts are always with like the safest bets. So the likes of Dante Martin, Leo Rush, people we've seen before.
Yeah.
I think it would be. I think there's going to be a lot of people in AEW that are not in the lines to work Forbidden Door at all. So there's lots of options there. One that I put in my 10 predictions I wrote the other day for the anniversary show, which was prior to everything that happened yesterday. It's Monday as we're recording it, so yesterday at the 229. I put out there the idea of Pretty Psycho wrestling Alexis Falcon and Deonna Purrazzo.
Okay.
Deonna, I don't see being involved at Forbidden Door.
No.
She's got RevPro history. They obviously have a mutual respect and liking of one another.
Mm-hmm.
She's always spoke highly of the company. Her and Zoe Lucas are best mates. You can easily have play upon that because it's not wrestling canon. They're best mates, but you can as much as you want to. So that sort of thing, you know, like an extra person. Like we had Gabe Kidd and David Finlay wrestle ELP and Shibata, didn't we? 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that was a case of the ELP's partner being a mystery to begin with. So I think it'd be that sort of thing, mate. What about you?
Yeah, I could see there's a few things there. Like, depends on the level of talent you want to work with. You could look. I think a multi-person match, like you said, makes sense. Deonna Purrazzo would make a lot of sense. I think bringing some talent in that who have looked like they've been potentially doing some indies out in America and stuff like that, who could come in and be name value, but probably not ones that are going to break the bank for RevPro. Something like you said, that Pretty Psycho versus Anna Jane Ty Mello, right?
Yep.
Names that people are going to know from TV
as well. In fact, I asked somebody. I asked Jamie, who sits next to me at the 229 yesterday. We were talking about that, and I said, "Are they still a team? And are they babyface or heel in AEW?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, they are a team, but they're babyface." And I was like, "Okay, maybe that wouldn't work."
But you know what? I think they're all good enough that you could have.
It could also be a fucking load of fun, couldn't it?
You could have
a baby face off.
You could have a baby face off. You could have Amira and Zoe just pout throughout the entire match. You could almost have them channel their inner Maki Ito in that sense, and then at some point the match gets serious, and especially Ty with her background gets a bit more vicious on the heel side. Amira then brings out that side of her. Like, you could do that. I would love to see Willow Nightingale
could interfere in some way at the end, and and that sets up your Portchester Hall match that you talked about.
I'd love to see Willow Nightingale there. I think these people don't feel out of reach anymore. They feel like it's
I can't see Forbidden Door having more than one women's match, right?
Yeah,
because New Japan doesn't have women, so therefore I imagine there being a Stardom representative.
Well, I was speaking with people yesterday, and there's a lot of top name Japanese women's talent, like Sari and people like that, who are apparently wrestling for Sendai Girls over that weekend. So a lot of those big names actually aren't going to be available.
And CMLL doesn't have a Stephanie Vaquer anymore. No disrespect intended at all, but I don't know the CMLL Women's Champion. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, stuff
like
that. Yeah.
Before Steph Vaquer wrestled for RevPro last year, you were like, I don't know much about her, but I know she had a fucking banger with Mercedes Moné.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of reputation.
Also,
I think it's, and also I feel like, look, Andy said this before. I'm sure he has. I can't remember in what forum, but they've used so many talents from other companies, but they've not had many women in ports before. I think it might have been when he was talking about Mickie James.
Yeah.
And so therefore, there's this untapped well.
I mean, we said that last December, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
We released, I think it was like
Top
10
10
little
list.
shorts. Yeah, we did a top 10 of who we thought, because we were of the opinion that this year we would see many more big name female talents coming in. And I think we've been somewhat vindicated by that. Not the talent that we thought would be coming in when we
We got
put this
Diona.
together. Yeah, but I think
we called Diona and we called Serena Deeb coming back for more.
yeah,
I think we got a couple of names right, but they went to Eve, not to RevPro.
we
And
did.
obviously,
Yeah,
that situation has now changed.
but also we did not consider for the slightest who the women's champion would be just a month later. Like,
absolutely.
it just shows how the landscape can change. And I think you're right. There's a lot of names, and I think there is going to be more than one women's match. There has to be more than one women's match. Look, here's the match I'm going to say. Right, if no, that doesn't make sense. I was going to say if the politics side of things does pull out, like meaning you can't have Danny versus Mercedes. Here's a match, and then I was like, immediately had a match in mind that wouldn't work because they're exactly the same politics. But you know what? I'm now going to will it into existence. I don't care about the politics. Danny Luna, Willow Nightingale.
That would be marvelous.
That would be marvelous. And the other match that I want, and I feel like we're not going to get, because obviously we're going to get GYV versus Young Guns. But there was a very specific match I said on social media I'd like to see, and Ethan Allen was very quick at tagging this team, who apparently already said they want to face Young Guns, and that is FTR. Give me FTR versus Young Guns. I would be in heaven.
Are you watching AEW at the moment?
No, mate. No. So I'm saying half these names like... Sorry?
Are you keeping up with it at all?
Not really. No. I'm
quite
curious.
Like, I would FTR and RevPro is something I've wanted for a long time. And there are times where you're like, oh, maybe it could happen, and then there are times when it can't. It's like if they're getting a massive push in AEW, they're not going to come and work.
The one thing I was told yesterday when I said about it to people was, I said the one thing I really want to not happen at Forbidden Door. There's two things. I don't want Adam Copeland and Christian reuniting as a team and having a match there, because I will pay whatever it costs for a last minute ticket. They were my tag team when I was 16 years old, and FTR winning titles. And a couple of people have said to me, it's likely they're going to be in a title match. So I'm like, okay, so they're not going to be at RevPro there. So they might be in the country, but very unlikely at RevPro.
Yeah.
And if they're going into a big title match, they're not going to be going against Young Guns. Like, so hey, here's that thing. The last question I want to answer to ask you, and I want you to answer, is probably the most controversial question I'm going to ask.
Oh, come high, you can help answer.
Do you think Sha Samuels versus Ricky Knight Jr. main events night 2 of the anniversary show? And if not, what do you think does?
I do. I think it does. And I think you put Zack Sabre Jr. versus Zaya directly before him. And that kind of satisfies two groups of people. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Zaya can be for everybody that's not hardcore RevPro. And then RKJ and Shaw can be for everyone who's like fully invested in it. Maybe they're going to book something that just trumps it. You know, like I've said, if Mercedes is on the show, I think she is. So maybe there's something like that. But if they don't, just thinking of what else I think will be like in terms of RevPro matches and RevPro versus New Japan or RevPro versus AEW, etc. I think the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship headlines, they've got a hell of a story. I know on paper, like RKJ versus Sha Samuels is not Michael Oku versus MJF, but I believe that they can get everybody in there to feel it. And mate, if Shaw loses, I think I'm going to have a right little wobble. Because the idea, just when it happened to Eddie Dennis, it was a really emotional moment
Yeah.
in a wrestling story, and I really enjoyed it. But I didn't have an emotional attachment to Eddie Dennis as a person like I do Shah. And the idea that when I go to RevPro shows next year, Shah won't be there. My little girl won't get to see Shah at shows anymore.
Yeah.
That makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Really, really sad. And I feel like he's so good at telling a story that he can take a cold group within the Crystal Palace, because there'll be loads of RevPro hardcore fans there. I reckon it'll probably be because it's not as big as the Copper Box.
No.
So when you're not talking about there being 4,000 people there,
Sure.
but you're probably going to be talking about there being 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. If they can get anywhere near 2,500, that's incredible. Because when New Japan did 2 nights at Crystal Palace, I think they did 2,200 people. Was the average across both nights.
Mm-hmm.
If RevPro can match what New Japan did in the same venue, that's pretty awesome. And I think that the section that is there that is not hardcore RevPro fans, Shaw will be able to reach them and pull them in.
Yeah. Okay. I've went back and forth on this quite a lot. I'll be honest, I felt like this since we knew this match was coming around. I don't think it's strong enough when it was Michael Oku versus Shah to headline, in my opinion, not the second night. That, to me, has only diminished in returns with the new champion, because I felt like very directionless for a long time. Although I will say that throughout my issues of consistency and presentation and stuff like that, yesterday at the 229, much better in a talking segment and a carrying segment than I've seen at any point this year. Felt like a bigger deal.
His talking over the last sort of the build up to the Summer Sizzler match, and then everything since the Summer Sizzler. The word I'd use to describe RKJ's promos at the moment is very focused.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he's at his best. When it's he's not reacting to the crowd. He's not I'm not suggesting he's ever winged it or been talking on the fly. But when the comment's been made in the past and certain parts of the crowd will pick up on it and be like, no, I don't like the fact that he said that. I remember he made a comment about Gabe Kidd sucking David Finley's dick or something.
Yeah.
And it was just a comment where people were just like, oh no. And the chances are he's not sat backstage and thought, I'm going to say this. It's just he's lost himself in the moment.
Yeah.
None of that happening. He's very controlled, and I think he's doing a great job of it. Well, for me, I'm more excited for RKJ Shah than I was Oku Shah, because Oku versus Shah is a very, very different match to what this could be, and I'm scared that RKJ is going to murder Shah Samuels and really send him out.
Mm-hmm.
And scared in the best possible way, because I'm scared as a mark. I'm scared for my favourite wrestler, I'm scared for his safety. And that I'm far more excited about. There are so many different ways this match could go. And I'll tell you what, mate, I am not 100% convinced that Shah retires. There is a part of me that still believes that they could have Shah beat RKJ.
Yeah, I will add that I'm not sure what way I see it going. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. But what I will say is, I do think this main events, but I think it main events night 1. And here's a couple of things, right? So I was convinced that a Mercedes match would main event 9-1. And then that got put into a tag match. And I was like, doesn't have to main event anymore. It's not going to main event, right? Like, I just don't think that multi-person match needs to main event. I also...
So if it's a tag match, it doesn't have to be night 1, right?
No, well, it sense says that it probably will be, but yeah, you're right. It doesn't need to be. Also, I felt that since we did the swap over to RKJ, that just made me feel like actually this probably is gonna main event, because this makes... Someone said to me, the reason that RKJ has the belt now is because they want you to really like, if OKU beats Shah, you don't hate him. RKJ does it. It's a big scalp, okay? So I think this main event's night 1, and I think Leon versus OKU main event's night 2.
On night 1, RevPro are kind of running against Riot Cabaret, aren't they?
Yes.
Have they announced anything?
I think the only match I've seen announced is Thunder Rosa versus Harley Hudson.
Okay.
There might be more. I'm just checking now. I've got Twitter loaded, so let's have a look.
I don't think that I'm picking up on stuff that isn't there. Yesterday, when they dropped the Zazaya versus Zack Sabre Jr. graphic, it very, very clearly said Saturday.
Oh, did it? I didn't notice that. Okay,
and the fact that they put that out there first, the first match announced was for the Saturday, not the Friday.
Oh, yeah, I remember that from a comment you made to me, yeah.
It does not surprise me at all that they've put that out there, and they've put it out there now with the view that there are going to be people that are looking at which show shall I go to. Eve, they've got Julia Hart and Sky Blue, don't they?
Yeah, versus Millie McKenzie and Sapphire Reed.
They got anybody else there?
No one else has been announced yet.
But you might, they've had Statlander.
They're calling it Eve versus the World. So imagine a few more imports. Yeah.
Interesting.
And it looks like they've got like this. Have you ever seen the film Scott Pilgrim versus World? Or they've got a very distinct video cover with Scott Pilgrim, his girlfriend, and then they have what's referred to as her 7 evil exes, and they're all displayed at the top of the poster. And that's how it looks like.
My wife and I have got a running joke, which is a quote from that film, about, I like the way you've parked there, because if somebody wanted to park between you and the curb, they could just about fit in. I'm pretty sure that quote is from that film.
I've watched that film so many times.
Whenever I park badly, and it's just
I'm gonna watch it. I might even watch it tonight. I've watched that film so many times. I love that film. I don't remember that quote. That's not to say it's not in there. It just might be one I might not be picked up on. But yeah, and it looks like they're about 2/3 the way full. So I'm expecting another 2 or 3 names there to be announced. We'll talk about Riot Cab. They have Tate Mayfair's versus James Ellis with special guest referee Simon Miller. They have Harley Hudson versus Thunder Rosa. They have Flash Morgan Webster versus Jordan Breaks. So that's what they have announced.
Yeah, and like that's all. There are lots. I know that there'll be lots of people that go to one of each show, right? There'll be some people that go to RevPro and Eve, and Riot Cabaret and RevPro. Then there'll be people that go to Riot Cabaret and Eve. Like, there's always going to be competition, and the business is at its healthiest when there's competition. So, I imagine my feeling would be, if I was Andy Quilden, I would try and stack both nights as best as I can and get the best 2 nights of wrestling, which I know he will do. But if people were going to weigh up the 2 cards, you would probably want to load Saturday slightly more because Eve is a bigger threat than Riot Cabaret is.
I think so, yeah.
In terms of drawing a bigger audience. But at the same time, RevPro doesn't need to focus on what anyone else is doing, because what they are booking is not last minute on the fly. They've been preparing for this for 12 months.
I think what RevPro needed to do, and they have done, is put stuff out there, because I think I think for some, and I understand this as a criticism, is that some have felt that the booking at times has not been as strong as it could have been. And I've seen that in certain bits. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I understand that. And Eve has been such a hyper-focused product from what I'm watching of it that feels like actually that's probably, out of all of the companies I've watched bits over the year, probably the most strongest booking I've seen. But as we've always also said as well, RevPro has so many shows in its calendar that
right? Like
there's that. Yeah, it is.
So
and so that's it.
They've run 7 shows this year.
Yeah, so you've got a very specific point of this has to happen then, this happens then, this happens then. And with RevPro, it can be that bit more fluid, sometimes to its benefit, because you can do lots more, sometimes to the detriment. But the one thing that everyone I found really consistent is all of these people that have been saying that they preferred Eve in the sense of the year, they have had their RevPro anniversary tickets booked, and they've all been saying the same thing. I want to see RevPro put something cool that makes me go, as much as I want to go to this show here,
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm missing out. And everyone has been saying to me they feel like they've been missing out because Sky Blue versus Julia Hart will appeal to a very certain demographic who will be at that level, right? That's what they're happy with. And that's cool. Because to me, if that's what is being billed as your top level, you kind of know where you're reaching to from there, right? You know what your other likely levels you're coming in are. And for some people, that will be enough and go, I've booked. That will be their Zazaya versus Zack Sabre Jr. But you'll get the people go, that is really cool, but I know that's my headline that I'm getting. This is also now putting out there Zack Sabre Jr. versus Zazaya, putting out there Michael Oku versus Leon Slater. Yeah. They are the things now, like you said. RevPro has
Zazaya is the best possible Zazaya match.
It really is,
and the best possible Zack Sabre Jr. match.
100%, and
there isn't a better combination of two wrestlers.
And I feel like this is what people have been clamoring for. And look, if I'm being critical, we are less than 20 days away from the biggest 2 shows of the calendar, and we know
I'd start dropping bombs now.
We need, look,
have a little flurry. Here's the other thing. Maybe 3 nights in a row of bang, bang, bang.
Here's the other thing, right? Evidently, RevPro tickets have sold really well. Because if you're promoting a show, you don't promote it on the basis of you're not putting it out anything till now if you're struggling selling tickets, okay?
Yeah.
We know that it's the same as bands, right? Bands will not announce their support act sometimes until close to the time because they go, well, how well is our ticket selling? Okay, we need a decent name support act to get us extra. That's why you see some bands will have literally a very low level local and then because you go, well, we sold all our tickets, so what's the point of stacking the bill?
Why split the draw between us and anyone else?
It's not the same with RevPro because they have to put the matches on regardless, but at the same time, there's no incentive for them until now to have to start.
How much of the anniversary card is going to be like built from the 3 shows we've got left? 2 in Berlin, and Southampton. Southampton being 5 days before the first night.
Southampton is going to need to be Southampton's going to need to be a double show, in my opinion. Like, if you want to build everything through actual proper storytelling, in terms of what I mean by that is not a Zazaya video, that sort of, but actual out there storytelling in matches. There's not enough time to do all of that in Southampton, and I just don't think we get everything in. Maybe what we get in Germany is we get like a fucking great match between Cowboy Way and Young Guns, and then after the match, Young Guns challenge GYV to that match first night, right? We get things like that happen, and that's how we move things through. But I think a lot that we get is dropped on social media.
I just feel like there are some match graphics which can come out now.
Yes.
But there's different levels of match graphic, right? Robbie and Nino is not the same as Zazaya and Zack Sabre Jr.
No.
We've done Zazaya and Zack Sabre Jr., so Robbie and Nino could be the next graphic.
Yeah, you could just drop that. Yeah.
Although the Zazaya and Zack Sabre Jr. graphic doesn't actually, it's not anywhere yet. It's not on social media yet. So that needs to be the first step. Then once you do you could do, if you can do 3 in a row, you could do Robbie and Nino, Leon and Oku, because they're ready. The stories are there now.
Yeah.
And then you pull one out, which is like, fuck. That's
and
cool.
we always
like
say this.
Mills versus Shingo.
Yeah.
That I'm manifesting. Or you're, someone's going to have a big match. You know you are, because Andy Quilden has talked about this so many times. He knows how to book wrestling shows when they're big shows, and he said on the previews that we did before RevPro's 11th anniversary show, which was about the time I started working with RevPro and like doing little bits and all he kept talking about in interviews was people are going to go away from this anniversary show talking about Luke Jacobs. Like he was literally telling us Luke Jacobs and Ishii are going to have a banger, like a match that you are going to remember forever. There will be one of those matches per night.
Yeah, of course there will.
So if Desire and Zack Sabre Jr. is one, what's the other?
Yeah.
And for it to be that level, it has to be a big name. In which case, we're not going to build it through Southampton and Berlin. Let's get it out now.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. There is always the banger match with RevPro that doesn't need, like, it just stands on its own 2 feet. Absolutely stands on its own 2 feet.
Graphic.
Yeah, and it was
the graphic that drops. You get a ding on your phone to say RevPro has posted something. You open it up, because obviously everybody has turned on their notifications for RevPro announcements, like I have,
and on YouTube for this podcast. And if you don't, turn on notifications now. Click that bell icon.
Dave the Mark Instagram, Dave the Mark TikTok, DaveTheMark.com, and you literally get that holy shit moment.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
Yep.
And that last year, well, not last year, the year before, that was the not Luke Jacobs Ishii. That was Will Ospreay versus God, I've got my names confused now. Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi. That was that match,
even
right?
the Epic Encounter this year, which was obviously a smaller scale show, but the first thing they dropped was Zazaya Hechicero.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, okay, this is not a Stevenage
last year
show. Like this is a level up.
It was Zack Sabre Jr. Hechicero last year, which was the one that ended up becoming the banger match. Well, the banger match one that got announced last year as well was Danny Luna versus Stephanie Vaquer, and then Mina Shirakawa was the big name replacement for it. Like we had these even at the anniversary show, the one that caught, I think, after when you've got the matches coming out for the 11th anniversary show. In terms of shock value, okay, that's cool. Like outside of Ospreay and Takagi, your next one actually was Mickey James, I think, because Ishii Luke was cool, but that was like oh god, I just didn't expect to see this one. So yeah, lots of stuff there.
I'm so excited, mate.
I'm interested to see how Germany goes. I think I need a little bit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I know it's going to be a great time. I'm going to be seeing lots of great people. I'm going to have a good time. I'm not excited yet, but I think that's because I'm the part of the fan base where I need things to be excited about.
Yeah.
I can't get excited about things are coming. I need to be excited about things. And yesterday, starting to get those things, like, I think I liken it to Christmas, right? you're excited because you can just see the presents under the tree and you're waiting to see what they are. I need to open them now, and that's when I get the excitement from it, right? It's just no way is the right way, no way is the wrong way. I know at the end of it, I'd be very surprised if either of us are going, well, that was shit, because I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to see
It would
great
have to be a fucking
Look,
hellfire.
I'm going to say, if nothing else, the price that we paid for 2 nights, if we get a match on par with what I presume Zazaya versus Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be on night 2, if we get that on night 1 as well, and Michael Oku versus Leon, wherever that fits,
yeah,
I will leave a happy guy. Okay, so yeah, we're good. Right, I'm calling bullshit on us, Dave. We were going to be an hour. We weren't going to go as long as normal. We are literally ending this at 10 to 8, which is our normal time of ending podcasts.
I'll tell you what, though, mate. We've kind of talked a little bit about an awful lot here. We've done an anniversary preview combined with a bit of Sizzler, a bit of 229, a little bit of Sheffield.
Yeah,
I'm good.
And hopefully,
what are you going to go and do now, mate?
I'm going to go and pack my bag because I've got a 4:45 date with the gym.
Nice. Do you know what I'm going to go and do now?
Do I want to know? Is that broadcastable?
I'm going to interview Zazaya with the help of a Spanish translator.
Wow, that is...
When Dave the Mark and Lawrence Judah met Zazaya. My mate is Spanish. He's going to be my translator for me.
Love that. Right, well, you go and enjoy that, mate. Make sure to catch it on davethemark.com when it's out. Until next time, we'll catch you later.